in strips of 4. We want to cut these in half so that as we're putting around the cake, we only have the 2 like that. And one thing I want to do to smooth off the edges, if you see any rough edges, because this is chocolate, if you just rub your finger on it like that, it will smooth it right out. I have here 12 Kit Kat bars. It might take 13, it might take 14. I brought 13 over so far. I will probably cut 12, and then as I'm putting it on, if I find I need the 13th one, I'll cut it. And if I don't need the 13th one, then it just stays covered, and that way it stays fresher. Cut your Kit Kat bars, and when you're done cutting them, join me here and we'll show you how to attach them to the cake. As you notice, these Kit Kat bars have Kit Kat written across the top of each line. If you don't want that Kit Kat part there because you want it to actually look like a barrel, all you have to do is take your finger and just rub it, and it'll just rub it right out. The other thing this does, and if you do it all the way across the top, it helps gives your chocolate kind of that weathered look. Then the look that you're going for of the barrel is not going to have Kit Kat written all over it. It's going to be looking more like a barrel. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to all of my chocolate, and if I need to trim any up, I can trim it up. And then I'll show you how we put it on. To attach the chocolate to the cake, I have a cup with a disposable bag in it. I'm just going to stick some ganache in that cup. And I don't need a whole lot because I'm not spreading it all over the cake. Once I have the ganache in the bag, I'm going to take that bag out of the cup, and I'm just going to push the ganache down. I have not cut a hole in the bottom of this bag yet. So I'm just going to cut a small hole, and then I'm going to continue pushing my ganache down. Once I have it down a lot of the way, I can twist it, and you notice once I twist it like that, it starts going down faster. I'm now going to just squeeze until it's coming out. So you're going to take your chocolate, and you don't want it at the top, but you do want to get some on this so it'll stick. And then you just take your chocolate and stick it against the cake, just like that. Then I'm going to get another chocolate and just stick it against the cake like that. And I'm going to continue till I have my whole cake like this with the chocolate around it. At the end, this was not quite the right size to put another 2 in, so I have a single one there, and then the other half of that single one, I trimmed it down so that I could then just go and squeeze it right in there. And then you just want to go around and see that they're all attached and none of them are sticking out. Next thing we're going to want to do is we want to pour the mud in there. To get the ganache ready to pour on top, we need to get it in liquid form again. And because I'm going to pour it, I actually want to get it to liquid form in this cup that has a spout. So I just put my ganache into this cup. And I don't want to get this as liquidy as when we made it, just enough to pour, because to make the mud that swoops up in it, it needs to become firm again. And so I don't want to have to wait as long to do that. Now, because this has already been melted and because it's chocolate, I want to be checking this about every half a minute. When it gets to the consistency that I can pour it, I will then take it out. And of course, when I check it, I'm going to stir it also. We will put this in the microwave and just set it for a half a minute. Then every half a minute, I'm going to take it out and stir it. And as soon as it gets to pouring consistency, we'll be ready to pour it onto our cake. The microwave dinged, so I'm going to take it out and I'm going to stir it. You'll notice it is getting liquidy, but it's still got some pretty solid chunks in it. So I'm not going to give it another half a minute. I'm going to give it like 15 seconds and that's it. After the 15 seconds, I think it'll be right where we want it. As you can see, I've put a lot of the cake together. While I was putting it together, I thought I had the videotape on. When I went to download, because I need to download my videos every little bit, I found that one of the times when I thought I had stopped the video, I didn't, so it was running through all that. So every time that I thought I was starting the video, it was actually stopping it, and every time I thought I was stopping it, I was actually starting it. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through what I did. The last thing you saw was I was stirring the ganache that had melted down. I then took it and I poured it in here. After I poured it in there, I got all of these pigs out and I just placed them in here. These arms, I just rolled out some fondant and put them on, and I was getting ready to scope this and smooth those in when I realized that it was not recording. So well, I'll be showing you again how to make arms when I do the other pig, so you'll be able to see how to make the arms when I do the pig that's standing on the side. So I'm just smoothing that chocolate into his belly so it looks like an actual arm. On the back of this pig, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put an indent there to make the hoof. Because he is a pig and he still has his hoofs. Now what I did to make the mud splashes there is I just took this knife here and I just went in and I went like that. Now it's getting a little bit more hard. And I made little splashes like that. I did it with the knife when it wasn't so hard, but now it's starting to get hard. It's a little bit harder to do. Now we're up to date on everything that I have done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the metal band that goes around this. If you've ever seen barrels, they have metal bands around this. We're going to use this ribbon to be our rim. So I just want to measure and see how big that's going to be. And then I'm going to take the scissors and cut it. I do have it overlapping a little bit. I'm going to take this ribbon and I'm going to get it wet. I'm going to take it over to the sink and I'm just going to get it wet and then I'll be back here. Okay, here's my ribbon that's now wet. The one thing I did is after I got it wet is I held it up and I just went like this with my hand and that got the excess water off it. Then I did it on the other side and I went like this and that got the excess water off. I want the seam part to be in the back. So I'm going to start at the back And I'm just going to stick this ribbon on. And you notice because it's wet, it sticks. And it's going to stick to itself too. So I just take this around, and while it's wet, I can move it around. So right now I'm just quickly putting it on and connecting it there. Okay, now that I have that attached, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the front and I'm going to position this where I want it. And I want it about in the middle. And now I can slowly move it all up to where I want it. And the thing that's really nice about using this water is it makes the ribbon really easy to pull off when you're ready to cut the cake. So just looking, I'm turning it around, looking to see if I have any high spots and any low spots. And I want to actually press it as much as I can. Remember, chocolate is soft, so as I press this in, it's going to stick better. One that most people have seen on the internet, it's really cutesy, and it has a bow there. And if that's the way you want to go, then you would just cut the ribbon longer, you would bring it around, and you would tie it in a bow, and that's how it would stay. You'd probably still want to wet the ribbon so it would stick all the way around. The next thing I want to do now is I'm going to make the royal icing so I can do the grass down here. And then after I have the grass on there, I'll be able to do those pigs that are still trying to climb in. Now remember, this right here is my front. So I'm going to have to decide if I want the pigs to be here or if I want the pigs to be there, because there's not going to be room to have the pigs stand right there. So they'll be on one of those two sides. But first I need to get the royal icing done and the grass on.